Hi everybody, it's Lauren. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be my fall 2017 TBR list. And since today is officially the first day of fall, I thought this was the perfect time to upload and make this list. Originally, I was going to just do a top 5 books I want to read for fall, but since this is encompassing an entire season and I have way more than 5 books I'd like to read, I figured I would just make a list with my top 10 and one honorable mention. So since I have so many books that I want to talk about and I don't want this video to be a million minutes long, I'm just going to go ahead and hop right into my picks. So the one honorable mention that I want to talk about is Harry Potter. I am rereading Harry Potter starting in fall, and I haven't actually read it in a long time, so I'm really looking forward to this. I'm not going to talk about it too much because I think by now everyone has read it or at least knows what it's about, but I'm really looking forward to diving back into this world. I think it's the perfect book for fall, and I just am so excited because this is obviously one of my favorite series of all time. The next 10 books that I want to read are ones that I'm reading for the first time, and I have 10 of them, so they're not in any particular order. I'm just going to go ahead and jump right into them. And the first one I have here is They All Fall Down by Roxanne St. Clair. This kind of seems to me to be the perfect kind of cheesy teenage slasher kind of book that I like to read. I read a ton of horror books in the fall. I mean, as soon as September 1st rolls around, I just want to start reading mysteries and murder mysteries and thrillers and horror and anything like that. So there's a lot of those on this list, but this one is about a girl named Kinsey, and every year at her school there is a list that comes out that has the 10 most popular girls on it, and this year she gets voted to number 5. Because of this, she gets access to the best parties and the hottest guys, but things are a little bit different because this year someone's going around and killing all of the girls on the list, and Kinsey kind of has a limited amount of time to figure out what's going on and why someone wants to kill all these girls. I love the cover, I love the sounds of that. It sounds like the perfect kind of cheesy book that I am into, like I said, and I think it's going to be a great kind of scary-ish fall read. Next on my list is another book that's probably going to be cheesy horror, and it is Survive the Night by Danielle Vega. I really loved The Merciless by her. It was like Mean Girls meets Scream, and it was so good. Like, I had so much fun reading that book. And I know that this is a standalone by her. This book follows a girl named Casey who's just gotten back from rehab, and she just kind of wants to settle back down into her routine in her life, but her friends invite her out to this nightclub called Survive the Night, and she reluctantly goes along. And she's not really having the best time, and she definitely isn't having a good time when one of her friends is found mutilated outside the club, and it kind of turns into a Survive the Night event for her and the rest of her friends. I think I'm going to really enjoy this book. I think it's perfect for Halloween. I love the little like rainbow skull on the cover. I don't know how well you can tell with my light, but I am really excited to read this. I already know I like her writing, so I'm sure that I'm going to really like this as well. Next on my TBR list is Alice by Christina Henry, and honestly, how could I not make a TBR list and not put an Alice in Wonderland retelling on it? Alice in Wonderland is my favorite book, and this is supposedly an Alice in Wonderland horror retelling, which sounds like it was made for me. I am so excited to read this book. Apparently this one deals with Alice, and after she and a friend have snuck out and had this night, she's the only one to come back, and she doesn't really remember anything except a tea party and lots of blood. And so they throw her into an asylum, and Alice gets a chance to break out and I guess kind of try and piece together what happened to her that night. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to read. I'm hoping that it lives up to all the hype I've built around it in my head, and I just really love the cover. I'm really excited because I haven't read too many like blunt horror retellings of Alice in Wonderland, so I think it's going to be really good and I'm excited. Next on my list is a sequel, and it is Outpost by Anne Aguirre, or Agrier, I don't know how to say her name, but this is the sequel to Enclave, and since I don't want to spoil the first book, I'm not going to say too much about this one, but it has to do with a dystopian society that's overrun by zombies. I read this back when like the zombie craze was going on a couple years ago, and I really thought that Enclave stood out among the other zombie YA books. because of the way the zombies are depicted in the book, and also it kind of felt like very rustic, and that's a terrible description. I don't know, I just really liked this one. I thought that the way the world was built and the way that the zombies were described was a lot more interesting than most of the other zombie books I read, and I haven't gotten around to reading the sequel until now, but I mean, zombies are something that is perfect to read about at Halloween, and I'm really excited to actually continue on with this series and see where the rest of it goes. Next on my list is possibly my favorite book cover that I own, and it is My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix, and can we just like appreciate this cover? Like, look at this. It looks like an old school 80s VHS tape. It has like the sticker and a rewind sticker up here. I am in love with this book cover. I think it is so fun, and I just hope I love this book as much as I love the cover, because I really don't want to get rid of it. This book centers around two best friends, Abby and Gretchen, and after a night of skinny dipping gone wrong, Gretchen begins to act a little bit weird, and it's up to Abby to figure out what exactly has gotten into her friend. I love books like this. I love reading about exorcisms, which again sounds really creepy, but I think that this book's going to be a lot of fun. I've already kind of glanced at the first couple chapters and really liked what I have read, and so I have really high hopes for this. I think it's going to be a really great book to read right around Halloween. Next on my list is what might be the perfect Halloween book, and it is The Halloween Tree by Ray Bradbury. This book deals with 8 trick-or-treaters who sneak up to a haunted house on Halloween night, and one of their friends gets whisked away by this creepy man who lives in the manor. And to rescue their friend, they are kind of sent on this journey throughout time to kind of learn about Halloween as it has been practiced throughout history. And I just think that this is possibly like the cutest little book ever to read on Halloween. I have seen the like ancient Cartoon Network mini movie that they did years and years ago and thought it was super cute, and I have never read the book, so I'm really looking forward to reading this Halloween. I can't really see a more perfect Halloween night read. Number 6 on my list is another ghost book, but I think that this one is not going to be too scary, and it is The Ghost Bride by Youngsit Chu, and I am so sorry I butchered your name, but this book deals with a girl named Li Lan who is forced into this old folk practice of being a ghost bride, and she is married off to a deceased young man who died without ever being wedded in order to kind of placate his spirit. I am really excited because I love reading about like obscure folk traditions and things like that, and this one sounds like it has a lot of drama, and it seems like the ghost suitor starts haunting Leland. I think I'm going to really like it, but again, I don't think it's going to be too scary, so I feel like if you're looking for a Halloween ghost story that's not going to like scare your pants off, this would be a really good choice. Okay, I have 3 books left, and they're actually not horror or scary as far as I know. They're fantasy to the best of my knowledge, and they're actually number 1s in 3 separate series that I have wanted to start reading forever, and so I'm just kind of like in the mood to start them, and I'm gonna run with that because I've put off reading these books for a very, very long time. The first one is Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo, and this is the first book in the Grisha trilogy. When it comes to fantasy, I don't really like to know too much when I go into the book, so honestly, all I really know about this is about a girl named Alina who gets orphaned during this war and kind of recruited into an army to help defend her nation, and at some point she starts manifesting these powers and gets recruited to this elite unit called the Grisha or something like that. I could be totally off, but I just really think I'm going to like this. I know it has to do with a lot of Russian folklore and mythology, and it seems like something that's totally up my alley. I know that a lot of people like the Six of Crows duology by Leigh Bardugo better, and that even though it's set in this universe, you can read it like interchangeably with this, but since this was her first work, I really want to read this first, and I'm really excited to start it because I've literally heard nothing but good things. Okay, we're on the second to last book. So 9th on my list is The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. I have read a couple other books by her, and I literally love Maggie Stiefvater's writing so much. She is able to create such beautiful worlds that just literally captivate me from the first page, and I have heard basically everyone say that this is their favorite work by Maggie Stiefvater. I honestly don't know anything about this except that it has to do with psychics or something of some kind, and that seemed very, very Halloweenish to me and fallish, so I'm excited to read this. I really don't want to know more than that about it. I think that I'm going to love it as much as I loved reading the rest of her writing, and I have really high hopes because people have been hyping this up to me, and I really hope it lives up to what everyone's been saying. Last on my list is a book I'm almost embarrassed to admit I haven't read yet, and it is A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. I will also admit that I've never read anything by Sarah J. Maas at all. I have Throne of Glass sitting up here on my shelf that I've also yet to read, and I know that's kind of like a sin within the book world, but I have never gotten around to reading this book for no particular good reason. I'm really excited to start reading a Sarah J. Maas book because I've heard literally nothing but good things. It seems like everyone in the world has read this but me. I don't know why. It sounds like it's a Beauty and the Beast fairy retelling, and that sounds awesome. I'm really excited because from what I've skimmed around in this book and kind of glanced at, it sounds like I'm going to like the writing style. I am really pumped to finally read a Sarah J. Maas book because it has been a really long time since I got into a kind of fairy themed book, and I have high hopes for this one because everyone else seems to love it so much. And yeah, I'm really excited to finally read this and figure out what the hype is all about and just kind of explore Sarah J. Maas's world and her writing style. I'm really excited about this one. But yeah, that is all the books that I'm hoping to read this fall. I am very, very much a mood reader, and I don't honestly set a strict TBR every month, so while I may get to all of these, I might also only read half of them or only end up reading one, but this is my tentative fall TBR list. If you have read any of these books and you'd like to let me know what you thought, then please leave me a comment down below. And if you have any other recommendations for me, then go ahead and drop those down below too. I am really, really excited to read all of these books, and I will obviously be sharing my opinions on here as I read them and put them in wrap-ups and things like that. So I hope you're all having an amazing week, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!